Party of Three is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. In the last episode of Party of Three.
So recently we've had a lot of trouble with some thieves around here. And I think they go by the faceless?
All right, well, to catch a thief, one has to be a thief.
Well?
Something neither of you have proven to be adept at.
We may or may not be the leaders of the faceless ones.
How did I not know this at all?
Out of the water comes a dark, cloaked figure. Obviously they came from Nis, the land to the north, past the oceans, where the dead go to lie. We're gonna take care of these breathers, and we're gonna hold them off as long as we can.
All right, so why are you bothering with us?
We need you to go to Nis to figure out why this is happening.
I figured it would be something I wouldn't like.
Why should we go to Ness?
Because they'll put a sword through our throat if we don't.
So you guys aren't planning on going home then, huh?
Nope.
Not for a while.
Nope.
Because the boat left and I saw it leaving. And eventually you can make out what looks like an old wooden cottage.
I'm gonna cast knock on that chest to open it. I do so.
You casted knock, and the chest creaks open. You look inside and you see a very small white sphere. Welcome to Party of Three. You just found a white
Three
sphere.
adventurers are tossed into a wondrous world of Dungeons and Dragons. This is Party.
No, we're good. Just play that. I messed up. Sorry. Go ahead, Dave. Give him the rundown. Yeah, do it.
Party of Three is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Not that one.
Let's
Not
just
that
get
one.
started.
The intro, Dave. The intro.
They know the intro. They heard 6 minutes of the intro.
Okay. Well, three adventurers are tossed into a wondrous world of Dungeons and Dragons. This is Party of Three. And then, oh, da-da-da-da.
Lovely.
You were last found inside of a cottage in Nis after landing on the island and your ship leaving you. You found what looks to be a white orb.
I have no idea what this is.
Not a clue.
I have no idea. Maybe it's expensive?
It looks kind of like a pearl.
Try and crush it a little. Not hard, just does it give it all, or is it solid?
It's pretty solid. You can't really crush it with your fingers, just finger muscles.
Maybe it's a stone? Does anyone
Someone tried to activate it with out the cloth.
I'm gonna make an Arcana check.
Okay, go ahead.
14.
14 on Arcana. That's a knowledge roll, and you don't notice anything terribly magical about it.
Sure, I guess I'll hold it.
You hear... So where are you guys in the cottage right now?
We're in the living room, next to the pie.
Okay, so you're on the... Right, there was a pie on the windowsill.
Don't eat it.
And you hear the door open.
I'm
And
gonna look over.
An old woman steps in. Oh! Who are you?
Who are you?
How did you get in my cottage?
The door was unlocked.
Well, I wasn't expecting anyone to show up.
We weren't actually expecting to show up. to be entirely honest.
What do you want from me?
We didn't know anyone lived here.
I live here.
We know that now.
Who are you?
My
A
name,
little old lady who lives
My name's
not in a
Patty.
shoe.
my name's Patty Shellman.
Hello, Patty.
I've lived here for many, many years.
Okay.
Great.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the area then? Because we're kind of lost.
Why are you here?
We were dropped off.
Dropped off? For what?
To figure out why the breathers are moving south.
Oh, so you're here to investigate the breathers? Yes.
Aye.
Oh, well, do have a seat. I'll whip up some tea for you. And she leaves into the kitchen to make you some tea.
I'm gonna hide that pearl thing.
Now, you guys don't think this is gonna be that black water tea, do you?
Well, I made beer out of it, so can't be that bad.
I hope not.
I mean, she looks normal. She probably eats the stuff, right?
Her pie is black. Like, completely.
And we've met one other person who lives on the island. He was a lovely sort.
Oh, yeah.
She comes back in with a tray full of tea, and she asks, "Do you like your tea black?"
Aye.
That's fine.
Oh, good, because it's really no other color.
Well, that answers your question.
She pours you each a nice warm glass of tea.
Thank you, madam. As I begin to sip the tea.
Right, so where do we begin?
Well, we've heard the breathers are congregating to the west, was it? It was the west, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
West.
All right. Is there anything going on to the north? Or anything you know about?
What's with 20 questions? I don't even know who you are.
Well, you're from here, so we figured you would have some information.
I
If-
have lots of information, but who the heck are you?
Well, I guess we can do introductions. I'm Lilith.
Lilith. Nice to meet you, dear.
The name's Theron.
Theron. Okay.
You can call me Harrig, as I pour some of what's in me water skin into the tea.
Right. Harrig, Lilith, and Theron. As she points to each one of you. My name's Patty Shellman, and I'm an alchemist.
Ah, an alchemist. Then perhaps, if you don't mind the question, what is going on with the water? Why is it a very dreary shade of
Oh,
black?
yes, the water. Well, I'm not sure what is going on with it. However, I do know that it's safe to drink, and you can cook with it.
It just dyes anything that you touch it with.
Yes, it just remains black.
Well, that takes a lot off of our minds.
Yeah, I thought it was poison.
Same.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that. No, it's safe to drink. You don't have to worry.
Does it have any interesting properties to it other than just the color?
No, it seems to be rather normal, other than it's just black.
So like everything else on this cursed island, it's just a little bit strange.
Oh, strange is one way to put it.
Do you know of any other living people on the island?
I don't know of any other living people on the island, but I know of a lot of dead people on the island.
Aye, we've had a few encounters.
Why, have you run into anyone who's alive on this island other than me?
Aye, a queer young fellow down closer to the beach had fastened himself a house in the dirt.
Really?
He's a crazy person.
What was his name?
He
was
Like
like
Gillen?
Gallum or something.
Was it
Gillen from
Gillen?
Galley.
Yeah,
Aye.
Gillen.
Gillen. Huh. Oh, what did he look like?
a young boy of sorts, had interesting markings on his arms, wild hair that looked like it hadn't been cut in many years, and
also shirtless.
a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a queer individual.
Sounds like Tarzan.
That's the most accurate description.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, well, I hope he's doing all right. I'll have to go and find him maybe some other time.
Could I ask why you're on this island if you're a living individual?
Oh, it's a long story. You see, I came here trying to find my husband, Ronnie. He was a sailor, an adventurer, if you will. He always loved the idea of landing on Nis and creating a map and discovering the mountain ranges. He just couldn't keep himself from the island. Until, around the age of 18, he trained to become a sailor and decided to come to Nis. But he never came back. And I vowed that I would go and find him. So I hired the Faceless Ones to take me here and to help me find him. Well, once we got here, I arrived on shore and I told the Faceless Ones I would come right back. But they took my money and they fled, leaving me here for dead.
That sounds about right for hiring a group of thieves.
So I wandered around and, unfortunately, I ran into one of the breathers. Me being an alchemist, I didn't have many options. As I was running, I found a relaxant, an herb in the woods. And, it's a mushroom, it's like a fungus. And I sprayed it at the breather, and it incapacitated him for long enough for me to escape. As I kept running, I ran into a cottage where I found my dead husband, Ronnie.
Was this the cottage?
This is the cottage, yes.
Would he happen to still be around?
Not in the
Well-
way that she hopes.
I assumed as much.
He's very much dead. Unfortunately, I've had a long time to get over it, about 20 years. So it doesn't affect me too much anymore, but it still tugs at my strings.
There was a breather a little earlier. Led us right to your cottage, actually. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, they do come by every now and again. See, these relaxants, the breathers, it must not be very pleasant being one of them, because they seem to be at peace when I give them this relaxant.
Well, that's interesting.
It's called sloth's breath.
You wouldn't happen to have any of this on you, would you?
Yes, why yes. I grow it out back, and I keep a good healthy stockpile so I can go out and tend to my farms and go about the lands. Not too far, of course. I'm 74. But it keeps the breathers away just in case.
Well, that's interesting. Well,
You don't know anything else about the rest of the area, do you? Perhaps the mountains, or the area off to the east, or even the area to the west with all the breathers?
I know that the breathers don't come by here often, because they're all gathered over in the west, but when some do venture over here to the east, it's because they come to me for sloth's breath. I don't imagine it's very pleasant being a breather. It must be living hell.
that sounds about right.
However, when I was on the west side, I didn't hear many wolves howling. It's much more present here in the east. There's at least 3 of them, I think.
At least 3. That's not a terribly large number for wolves.
Have you encountered them before?
I've seen one, but I've kept my distance.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
don't
like
think
a
it noticed me.
wise bet. Do they travel in packs or are they alone?
They seem to travel together,
All three of them.
and the breathers seem rather terrified of them.
That's not good.
Well, thank you for the information.
Yes, of course, but now it's time for you to repay me. Where are you from?
I'm from a monastery far to the western side
Oh,
of...
yes, the monastery, yes.
Why does everyone know about the hidden monastery?
It's the
Worst
monastery.
secret ever.
I mean, we found it too, so.
You wandered in half dead.
Well, you see, we couldn't really miss it, Ronnie and I, as we went adventuring up north. You see, we're from Lancashire, down in the south.
Aye, I'm familiar with it.
We decided to go wandering up north, and on the way, of course, we stumbled upon the monastery, Ronnie being his insufferable adventuring self.
And... what? Okay. That's lovely. We're a very quiet bunch usually. Don't get up too much. This was what? 50 years ago?
Gramps, you're the loudest one here, and we all know it.
I said usually.
Oh, it was much more than 50 years ago. It was about 60
So you
or
were
so.
nothing but a wee lass at
Maybe,
that point.
maybe 58 years. Yes, I was but 18. Ooh.
Is she human?
She is human, yes. She has long braided white hair, and she's wearing kind of like a tan tunic almost, and she has a colorful necklace around her. Not like vibrantly colorful, but a nice set of dull colored beads.
Well, if you had stopped by, you probably would have met me. I was still tending to my duties there at that point.
Oh, we didn't dare to stop by. It'd be too dangerous. I'm sure that those who know about the monastery are monitored. Lucky for us, we only saw it in passing.
We got a little bit more than in passing.
That's maybe why we're being monitored.
So you were wise to avoid the place.
You're being monitored by the monastery? Why?
Gramps here.
Hi.
Oh, what happened?
A mistake of sorts. I let my guard down around these miscreants
Angels.
and ended up with me in trouble and having to follow them for quite some time. The rest of their days, or perhaps mine, whichever comes first.
The words forever.
Aye.
Oh, dear.
They, but that's a story for another day, perhaps.
Yes, of course. Of course. I don't expect you to give me your whole life story. Theron, where are you from?
Little town in the Eastern Kingdom called Gorn.
Oh,
But there was an accident a long time ago, and I left,
dear.
and I've never been back.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's fine. I've come to terms with it.
And Lilith, how about you?
I'm also from Gorn, actually. Ren and I are best friends.
Oh,
and so I
good.
followed him. And we haven't returned since.
Oh, dear. Well, I hope it wasn't anything too serious. Well, anyway, I was about to bake some cookies. Would you
Oh.
like some cookies?
Oh, no, I couldn't impose.
Well, how about some pie? I believe it's just cooling.
We already ate. It's, no problem at all.
I'm fine.
We are
Oh,
probably just going to get moving, honestly. We stopped by seeing a strange cottage in the middle of Island of the Dead. Decided to investigate and met a lovely young lass such as yourself.
Well, before I let you go, I must inquire about that large man in the corner who doesn't seem to be speaking much.
Kittlesworth looks over. My name's Jason Kittlesworth.
Oh, Jason. Oh, nice to meet you. You're very buff.
He doesn't say anything.
And very quiet.
Well, okay, well, I won't make you tell me your story or anything. But maybe another time, now that you know I'm here, you know where you can find safe passage.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Would you be willing to give us some of your sloth's breath
Of course.
for the travels?
Of course. Oh, well, first, tell me why you're here. What are you doing? What is your mission?
We already told you, but we're here to investigate why the breathers are attacking Galley.
Oh, right. Sorry, my
Yes.
my memory is not so good.
It's quite alright.
Right. I'll go prepare some sloth's breath for you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
She walks out.
Put that
Towards the
gem back where you found it. Or at least not in your damned pockets.
I run up the steps. I put it back in the chest. I run back down the steps.
That's a good loss.
And you too, Gramps.
So she comes back with a bag full of sloth's breath, and she hands it to you.
Here, this should keep them at bay. All you have to do is take one out and then squeeze it. It's very simple. And
All
then,
right.
of course, try not to breathe in too much of it because, well, it'll relax you too. It's more like a neurotoxin.
Okay.
Oh.
That's good. That's good to know.
That's a very fine warning.
Okay.
Thank you for your kindness and hospitality. We will be getting out of here right now.
Yep.
Where are you headed?
Further into the mountains to see if we can find anything, and then slowly make our way to the west.
Into the mountains, you say?
Aye.
You should be careful. That's
Why's
where I
that?
hear most of the wolves.
Ah. Well, maybe we can convince them to help us hate the breathers.
I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Oh, why's that?
Well, if the breathers are scared of them, perhaps you should be too.
Well, thanks for the advice. We should probably get going.
Aye.
Good luck, adventurers.
Thank you for your hospitality.
You're welcome.
We'll cross paths again.
Okay, you guys open the door, and all four of you step outside.
Well, off into the mountains or directly into the mouth of the beast then?
Definitely to the mountains.
Alright. Wolves over breathers.
She said the most we've ever seen is 3, so...
Aye, but if 3 terrify the hundreds of hooded figures from hell, then 3 are probably all that they need.
I wonder if they're normal wolves.
I can't imagine they're normal wolves. Nothing on this island is normal.
That's
That was probably the most normal thing we've seen.
a woman.
The
woman.
crazy old lady
In a cottage.
making
She wasn't
the
entirely...
black pie.
She wasn't entirely crazy. I mean, she wasn't...
Comparatively,
Yeah, exactly.
as we continue to walk north. Alright, you did leave the pearl thing in the cottage, right?
Yes, I put it back in the chest.
Alright, good. We don't need to steal and potentially anger the one person on the island who's willing to help us.
I know.
You were never going to put it back.
I mean, I don't trust her. That's too nice.
She's a dotley old lady. She hasn't seen anyone alive in 20 so years.
I wonder if she's actually ever met that, Gillian?
He was
Gillen.
probably one of the people who brought her to the island.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Aye.
Ooh. The plot thickens.
Our plot is plenty thick enough already.
You guys are walking through the forest, and you can hear the sound of birds overhead. There's a slight wind going through the trees. You're not quite at the mountains yet, but you're getting close to the base. It's been about 6 hours since you took off from the cottage.
We hear wildlife?
Aye, birds and wind. So
There's some birds again.
aye, hellspawn, all of them. What's the terrain look like as we're getting close to the mountains?
The trees are starting to thin out a little bit, and it's starting to get a little bit rockier. And by now you've reached the base of the mountain, so you can see up on at the tips of the mountains, it's snow covered.
I don't think we brought warm travel gear, did we?
I did.
Nope.
Oh boy, time to make some fire.
I put on my heavy cloak and continue walking forward.
And you hear a wolf howl coming from the direction that you're walking in.
Well, the
Time to put out
beasties
the
seem
fire.
interested. Let's see what we're up against. Eh?
Sounds like a plan.
I'm in.
Surveillance, preferably.
Okay, so you're walking up the mountain, and well, you have to make a couple climb checks here because
Alright.
you're gonna have to start climbing, bouldering essentially at first, and then
I'll use my acrobatic skill. Natural 20.
you rolled a natural 20.
I did.
Okay, natural 20 means you're like, that's the highest roll you can get on the d20. So you like backflip up like a couple little ledges. Like you're insane.
I did the thing.
You're making it hard to follow this up.
I'm gonna cast Alter Self and give myself some good climbing animal limbs.
Sure. Okay.
I just start scaling up.
Okay. What kind of animal limbs? Are you going for?
Claws of some sort, maybe draconic or yeah, you know what, lizardy, draconic,
Make it a
dragony.
goat.
And we'll make my feet hooves.
Okay. All right. So you've got what? Goat hooves and
Dragon arms.
and
Aye,
dragon
the natural
arms. Okay.
climbers. The mountain goat.
And
The dragon
natural
goat.
climbers, dragons. Okay, and go ahead and make a climb check.
7,
Okay, so 7 and then +5 for your alter self.
so 12.
We'll give you 12. And I'm gonna say that's just regular climbing. So yeah, you just move it at a regular pace, pretty much the same as you would as if you did not. cast alter
Once I
self.
get to
Yeah,
the
but
top
it's
of
more-
the
it's
cliff,
cool that
or
way.
what we're climbing, I'm going to pull my coil of the rope out of my bag, fasten it, and then rope it down to help people climb up.
Okay. Well,
I'm good.
Okay, well Lilith, did you make any climb checks?
I am actually going to ignore the rope and try climbing it myself
Okay,
using my athletics. A 7.
a 7.
Should I use the rope?
Okay, well, you managed to make it up like 1 or 2 kind of ledges, but you can't. You're pretty far behind.
Okay, I give in. I'm gonna use your rope, but this does not mean anything about my strength or athletics, okay?
Lizard goat man is still scaling the mountain.
Okay. You all 3 managed to. You used the rope to help you up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All 3 of you managed to make it to sort of a clearing with a ledge. You're about halfway up the mountain. So if you go halfway farther, you're going to hit snow. And it's starting to get kind of chilly.
I'm fine, I've got me heavy cloak on.
If we get cold, I can make a fire.
Out of... your magic, aye. However,
it-
that does impede our progress
I mean-
a might bit.
It's kind of weird, that I can actually use magic when we're here.
Aye, it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
weird. Don't get used to it.
Like we're ever gonna get back,
We can hope.
I guess.
That lady's been here for 20 years.
Once again, you hear the
but
howl
a
of a
group
wolf.
of thieves.
You hear a wolf howling once again, coming from up the mountain that you're climbing.
Alright, it seems like we're getting closer to the beasties.
And in response, you hear another wolf howling from the eastern side.
Oh, they're talking.
Maybe they're planning our downfall.
Probably.
Emphasis on fall.
Kittlesworth also makes it up the mountain, since he's such a buff climber, he's crazy. Like, he is muscular out the butt. Not out the butt, but his muscles are large.
We got it.
I sort of forgot about our companion.
He had a rope.
Oh yeah, he's very self-sufficient, so considering the size of his muscles.